Mahalo soy for Manuia. I'm Nu'ali'i Eteroa Lafaele.
And I'm Julia Arnott-Neenee. And this is Tech Voyagers, a series that explores the technology and digital realm as Pasefika trailblazers.
Join us each week as we recap the latest tech news and look into the wins, challenges, and impact of technology in our Pasefika communities. Ta'alofa lava fam, it's Eteroa here, and I'm joined with the sister Julia. Welcome, sis!
Woo!
Yes! How's your week?
Oh, you know what? It was sad without you. It was sad without you. But it was good, sis. I feel like everyone at the moment's getting a little bit sick too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I was sick and it felt like I just kept on going, honestly.
Yeah, I don't.
But I'm all good. I'm happy to be here. Happy you're back. I mean, how was 6 8? How was the land? How was the homeland?
Oi, it was refreshing, eh?
Yeah.
Even though we went a few months ago, it's still good to still keep going.
Yeah.
Like just seeing the coconut trees when you're about to land and just seeing like, welcome to Whaleoro Airport. I'm like, thank you.
I mean, I've got to say your skin looks amazing. You've got a glow to you, sis.
It's the insect repellent, sister. One spray. Don't bite me now, but make me look like this now.
Shine bright.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Yes. And but I know this about you because when we went and flew,
yes.
I know you got a fear of planes.
Yeah, for those that are listening, sister is scared of the plane. Like, I want to be like feet on the ground, nothing anywhere, But you know what I found out in Samoa?
What did you find out?
It wasn't just a plane.
Was it the ferry?
No, yeah.
Oh, yes?
The ferry.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, I was scared on the ferry.
Do you think is it like when you're not feeling stable?
Yeah.
There's not stability under your feet? That's
just, You know what I think of this? It's because I can't drive the boat. I can't fly the plane.
Oh, so you like being in control?
Yeah, that's why when I drive, I'm just like, I know where I'm going. I know what to do.
Oh, that's really insightful about you, sis, though, because that means like you really, as a person, you really like to be in control of. Does Tim ever get it to drive?
Well, no, Tim's all good, Like, I know if if I've driven with someone, then, actually driving doesn't bother me though.
Okay.
But that's why when you were on the plane with me, you made me feel calm. Because you're used to
the plane.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling in control.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I was like, okay, if sister can do this, I can do this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I sometimes have to be with people that have no fear.
Interesting.
Like you just ran it straight with the turbulence. Where I was like,
I feel like that works well for me, where there is this mentality of like, I'm just gonna lean in. Like I am afraid, but I'll do it anyway. And if I just lean into it, that will get me through it.
Yeah, and that helps the sister.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? That doesn't just help me in the turbulence, but also us in our founder story.
I mean, I was going to say that. That's literally like, that. I literally feel like that's the same as how we built this business. I was just like, hey, look, we're doing it. I'm doing it. Can you come? Can you be with it? Come with me. Keep. And then I just slowly was like, hey.
Yeah, no. I was like, okay, sister, I'm a tap revenge in. I'm going to come in. Let's do this. Let's build it.
Let's build it. Knock. I mean, I don't know how to build anything, but yes. So you had an amazing time. Well, I'm happy to have you back, sis. It's nice to have you back.
Oh, thank you, sis. It's good. Well, this is exciting. We get to tell everyone about our story.
I know. It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. So we're going to give a little bit of like who we are, how we got here, our journeys before we met each other.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I guess a big part of it is like, I mean, there's some parts of how we met which will never be known to us because it feels like it's sort of like the universe just landed in each other's pockets type thing. But there was a very pivotal meeting. And I mean, I think that's just changed our lives ever since.
I doubt.
Ever since.
Exactly. And you get to hear about it.
Oh, yes. We're sharing it. But before we get into all of that, we're going to go to
Ete on the Beat.
Ete on the Beat. I don't know what this is. Ete on the Beat. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tech news. Oh.
Hard out. Fasten your seatbelts. Tie your shoelaces. Get ready to hear Ete on the Beat.
Let's go.
Ete on the Beat. Ete on the Beat. Ete on the Beat. News topic for today. First is Meta launches Threads. So for those that don't know, Meta, aka Facebook, has launched their version of Twitter called Threads. Ever since its launch on July the 5th, 2023, it has created history after hitting 100 million users in 5 days. Zuckerberg, the owner of Meta, wants to build the first 1 billion user tech space. But Twitter is not giving up on a fight. Musk, the owner of Twitter, might sue Meta for IP and having a similar platform. Very interesting.
You know what's also really interesting? When I'm reading our notes, there's Zuckerberger.
It was literally the only way I could remember his name.
Honestly, I love this. Zuckerberger. I feel like that could be his new reference name.
Zuckerberger.
I mean, there's a collaboration with McDonald's there, but I'm getting distracted. So Threads. Have you downloaded Threads?
Last night.
Okay, I tried to do a thread last night. Shall we see how it's gone?
Yeah, nah.
Okay.
It's been an interesting, because I don't use Twitter.
No, neither. So I didn't have Twitter either.
Oh, no, because the only time I used Twitter was when the Rugby World Cup came in 2011. Because for us, it was the only way to find the All Blacks.
Oh.
And then after that, let about nothing.
Okay, so I tried to write a thread.
Yes.
And it was, here it is. Hey, everyone, find me on Threads. There we go. Let's first plug at J Arnott-Neenee. I really wish I was cooler than that, but I'm not. So my thread is, started a new routine of reading 5 pages each night with my partner. The book is Atomic Habits, ... Clearly working already. I'm so lame.
Well, you did better than me. I just said first thread. Ha ha ha. So if you...
Wait, let's see who's got the most likes.
I only got 1.
I got none.
Yeah. So if you want to start out, feel free to just use two characters to start your journey in Threads. But
honestly, but the thing I read about it is that Threads is not actually trying to replace Twitter.
Yeah.
It's trying to differentiate itself from Twitter. So it's I think there's one of their leaders came out and he said, look, we're trying to go for the target market of Instagram users that never went on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then the Twitter users that want an alternative to Twitter.
Yeah.
So it's like the one big differentiator that I found from this is that they're not trying to go after political or hard news.
No.
So they're trying to be like the cool kid club that doesn't get into the real stuff. Yeah. But it's like, of course, you can't control what humans do and don't talk about. Like even on Instagram, people are using Instagram way more to deliver news and bits and pieces. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like that's super ironic that you think that you have control over how people are going to use your platform and you're going to try and opt out and be like, I'm real neutral. We're just not the hardcore place.
Yeah, exactly. And because through time, Meta, or aka Facebook, has had a really interesting rep. Like through the years, I remember when Facebook came out when I was year 8? And through those years, it's gone through all that stuff. So do you think this will help them look better?
I mean, look, I think Zuckerberger, do you reckon we'll get in trouble for that? I don't know. Zuck, yes. Has been trying to, I guess, differentiate and diversify the business since Facebook's inception, right? Because Facebook obviously took off and then there was trying to do, they did Meta and the metaverse and everything else there. And then now they're trying to do this and they're doing AI. I do feel like it's a level of rebranding and diversification to keep the brand up to date with all the other emerging technologies and to try and be seen as a serious competitor outside of just a social media platform. I think the kicker for me though is that Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are starting to have all out wars against each other around. I think Elon Musk even talked about comparing the size of their
the size of their Twitter or
their private parts to each other, in public.
See, this, but it's just people listen to that because of the.
I don't know, but I think the other kicker is that Musk also, he's trying to what did he say? He wanted to have a cage fight with Mark Zuckerberg.
He wanted a cage fight. I don't know why, but it's because that's just how strong the entities in tech are.
But also how big they want to be the ones that I'm the one that's I'm the man of the century that did all this stuff in technology. And I think that's what's probably most sad to all of this is that here we are as users going onto Threads and going onto Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And then there's people right at the top and they appear to care about really underneath it all is who's got the bigger, who can do who can, I'm really not trying to go back to that comment.
Yeah. No, you're all good.
But who can boast the biggest?
Yeah.
Because of whatever they've got going on. And I think hard.
Twitter, Threads.
Totally.
Everything.
Yep. Do that again.
Everything.
Everything.
But you know what? While they're having their fights, their little cat fight, it's like, what about us as users?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
does that mean we have to apply for another social media to be relevant, to stay connected?
Well, I think that's the thing that's been ongoing, right? Like ever since we started with, what was it called? Bebo. Do you remember Bebo?
Oh my gosh, yes. And you only had like 5 hearts.
Oh,
5 or 3.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you had to pick like how many best friends you had.
Yeah, I had to shift every week. If I wasn't invited to your birthday party, you're on the bottom of the
Sad.
Straight up.
No, I love that though. But like we've had Bebo, we had MySpace before that, right?
Yeah.
And then we have Facebook. And so it's always going to be this new platform. And I guess again, we'll find out whether or not Threads is actually here to stay. We'll find out whether Big Zuck is going to be able to get 1 billion. I'm so sorry. Zuckerberg is going to be able to aim for this 1 billion user goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that we, again, are just more critical around what we're actually participating in and at least recognizing that we don't have to hype on we don't have to jump on every hype train. Like going in, testing, learning, understanding, but we don't have to become beholden to the next thing. Yeah. I made that choice. I don't have Snapchat. Do you use Snapchat?
Oh, I did when I was at uni, but it just, wore out. Like it wasn't relevant for me.
Hard out.
Yeah.
I didn't have Twitter.
Yeah.
Did you have No, you didn't have Twitter. So I don't know. I guess we just try and pick and choose what we want to be part of.
Yeah, hard out. And it's just because they want to keep evolving. They want to be relevant. So, and you know what I noticed? On Threads, all those social media content providers are like on it. Like they always, but that's what they feed off is their influence too. So it's, maybe we are influential too for not going on it until now. Oh my gosh.
Hey, that's very meta.
Yes. Meta D's. Bliss. Wow. Speaking of Meta also announced a new family of AI models and it's launched as Open Innovation AI Research Community. Yes. So Meta on the jump again to stay relevant. They have launched a new organization which is called the Open Innovation AI Research Community. They need an acronym, but that's makwa fancy. But when I was looking into it, this group really focuses about privacy, safety, security of large language models. So those language models are like OpenAI, ChatGPT. So in these groups, they really want to create kind of a place for future research. Yeah. But you know what's funny? They create this amazing community and they're like, yes, we want you to be part of it, but we will lead it and we will manage everything in this community, and that's what Meta's doing. So the people that are leading it is their own R&D team, and everything is facilitated by Meta.
I have to say, Meta has a very strange way of making people feel like, yeah, come in.
Yeah.
But then also we're in power.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's for everyone, but then, oh no, I control it all.
I know, it's like a church. Hi, welcome to my church. I'm the priest. I'm the treasurer. But you can come in and listen to our word.
But I also have seen that they're not even putting like actual capital behind it. Because the whole idea, right, is to be more responsible, trying to demonstrate that if we put everyone together, we can share how we can be more ethical and all that sort of stuff. But then they put no money towards it.
Nah. Oh, their own money.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, is that it? Like,
is that it?
Yeah, like it's...
I know. I feel like so much of that too is to counterbalance what they're doing in AI is to create this on the side to make it look like they're trying to be good people.
Yeah.
When in fact all that sort of reads again is like performative antics, performative tactics, like purpose washing.
Exactly, and because you know how we spoke about Zuckerberg, and yeah,
should we tag him? We should
tag him.
Hey.
But you know how they're competing, like Twitter. Like I know it's not competing, but really,
yeah.
But it's the same as what they're doing in this community. So they launched something called Llama. So there's Llama 1, Llama 2. The other Llamas are just upgrades. But what it really is Llama is just trying to drown out ChatGPT. So for those that don't know, Llama or ChatGPT, they're known as large language models. So the difference, and we're only going to do the difference between ChatGPT and Llama, is so pull out your pen and pencil. Number one is that Llama is creative and what is it? Curious. Curious. Yes. So like, you know how ChatGPT, you just ask a question and it just gives you a bland answer.
Yeah. Bland.
Llama is like more personalized.
Oh.
So like, let's say I'll be like, hi ChatGPT, give me an explanation of how to make ulu and pe'e, and they'll just give you the ingredients. Where in Llama, if you do the same thing, it'll be like, yeah, sis, you want ulu?
Will it actually say yes, sis?
Well, because it's based on data.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so it would be like, yes, sis, you grab that ulu and you put it in the umu.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's got more character.
Oh, I love that character.
Yeah, and it's just more like, it's assigned to yourself and your personality.
Oh.
But that's a scary thing.
But isn't that also scary? Because I think for me, I read as well that Llama 2 has like 3 trillion, what are they called? 3 trillion tokens. And tokens equal raw data. So an example of that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fan is 1 token. TAS is another token. Tick is another token. So the word fantastic makes up 3 tokens. There's 3 trillion tokens that have been inputted to be able to create Llama 2.
Yeah.
But who's reviewing every one of those tokens? Like, who's reviewing that? Because again, when there was a big conversation about who had to review all of the data of ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
It was the global south that were on $1.50 an hour a day that had to look through all of these bits and pieces of data that were being inputted into the large language models for like violence and porn and child abuse.
Yeah.
So who's had to go through 3 trillion pieces? And also, big one, sis. Where did the data come from? Where do these tokens come from?
Exactly. And you know what? And that's where we kind of go into like the ethics of it.
Totally.
Like who, are we, like for example, when Llama talks to Samoan, who owns it? Like,
where did it come from?
Where did it come from? Did it come from Samoans?
Did it come from someone?
Exactly. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And a lot of it, I mean, the thing is, they're never going to tell us because that would be their IP. If they were to publicly announce where they get these tokens from or like where they've sourced everything from, because we've got to assume that there's some things that want to be protected and or they're copyrighted purposely. Equally, there's some things that you'd want to ask for permission or know that are being used to make a hell of a lot of money for someone else. Like you'd want to know that.
Exactly.
But they will not disclose that information because then they're disclosing their business model and how they've built their business.
Yeah. And then that's why you should tune in next week for our episode if you want to learn more of AI and ethics from us.
Woo!
Yes. And you know what? That's the news from me. Etsy on the beat. Etsy on the beat. Etsy on the beat.
So sis, how did we even get here, honestly?
I don't.
I feel like, we went on our personal tech journeys. I went overseas. Yep. You went from startup to corporate to retraining, all these different things. And then we ended up finding one another. And, we've built this startup. We've raised 1.7 million so far.
Wow.
So far to build Whabawhale, and it's just going to be, I feel like it's going to be so nice to sort of talk about it together as well.
Yeah.
Because I guess we don't spend that much time actually reflecting on it.
No, that's the word, reflecting.
Because
we're running real fast.
Hard out.
But it's good to have a good reflection, eh?
So I'll go first.
Yep.
I'll try and stay on track.
You got this.
I got this. You go, I go, we go. We all go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so how did I get into tech? So I always go back to the fact that I was never a good student, I was not that great in high school. University, I only ever got in high school I got very, very few excellences. Merit was my game. Like merit I felt very comfortable in. And then in all of my reports, it always said Julia's not reaching her potential. She's not she can't manage her impulsivity, which basically means I talk back. It's like a fancy way of saying she talks back.
Yep.
But hey, look, it turns out really well. And also, then in university, I only ever got 1 A+ my whole uni career or my whole uni studies. I failed law. I tried to do law. I was terrible at law. Tried to do psychology, not the one either. So I ended up graduating from University of Canterbury with a Bachelor of Commerce majoring in marketing and a Bachelor of Arts majoring in political science, media and comms. Whew. Finished all of that, got into a grad program in advertising. Ugh. Go, ugh. Ugh. It's exactly what advertising was. I experienced all kind of racism. I went in as a strategic planner, which basically means, your role within that agency is to do a lot of thinking and understanding about people, trying to figure out what is the client looking for behind just the creative work. So like insight, strategy, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I remember vividly in my grad program, one of the more senior strategists at the time, I was like to her, oh, wow, you sound like you were like the ducks of your high school. And then, or like, you're like the ducks or something. Yeah. And then she goes to me, oh, yeah, and you're our token brown girl. And this was in front of an open plan office. Yeah. In front of everyone. And, I'm not necessarily going to spell out the agency I was at, but if you go to my LinkedIn profile,
you will find out.
Oh, dear. And so, I still feel so scarred. And I remember, too, the head of strategy there, he ended up saying to me, oh, Julia, we're going to have to knock those morals out of you. Oh, really? And I'm just like, I'm an impressionable young 20-year-old. So I learned really quickly that advertising is not the one. Oh. Definitely not the one if you want to have purpose and morals and ethics and values that drive what you're trying to do, at least where I was at the time. So I left there. I then went over to Sydney. My dad lived there. I didn't grow up with my dad, so it was a bit of a big step to go and be like, sup, Dad? It's bond. Yeah. I never lived together. And I went into healthcare to begin with. I somehow thought that healthcare was going to be closer towards purpose, helping people. But then I worked with Big Pharma. If you know Big Pharma, they're rooted in capitalism and it's all about profitability. Not the one. Yeah. But I will say I did have an experience with what was called Cochlear, which are hearing implants, so biotech, medtech kind of space hardware that help people that were born deaf hear for the first time. Yeah. Amazing piece of technology. It was absolutely incredible. And my role was to understand how does the product get used in a day in a life. So I got to travel the world. I got to see how a product was used. Literally, I was being paid to just be with families to see how the product was used on a young person. It was insane. And that was really, for me, the spark that made me go, okay, I'm not really that great at the tech side per se, but I can understand and be motivated by the solution that they've created. Yeah. But my strength is really understanding how do people think and feel about things. So I get to ask questions, and it's crazy to think that this is a job. You just understand how do people, what motivates them to buy? What is the pain point of this? What's an opportunity? What were the features they'd like to see?
That's cool.
And then I act as that bridge between the humans and then the technologist.
The user experience.
Yes. The bridge. I'm always seeing myself as a bridge. So then that was how I found my, I guess my love for technology is a way to solve a social problem or solve for human good. And I also found a place where my innate skills or the person that I am actually fitted into this space. Yeah. And for as long as I can remember, I've always been worried about, how am I going to pay my mum back for sending me to a private school? There is a bounty on my head of debt that she is waiting for me to one day pay her back. No, maybe not. But technology was a place that also showed heaps of growth, heaps of potential. And I knew that lawyers and doctors made, and people in finance made lots of money. And then I was finding out that technology, you can make quite a lot of wealth. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try and get myself into there.
Yes.
I know. It's crazy. And I did it.
Oh my God.
I did it. I can't believe it.
And what brought you home?
I mean, I know. So I went over, I worked in HP in London. Had a time over there, worked for them in California. That was crazy. It was this whole other thing. But the real big part that was missing about working for HP is, again, purpose. Yeah. So whilst it was awesome to be in a technology company, it was awesome to get these overseas experiences, I really want to use my professional life, my professional career, to make a positive difference and to have purpose. And so that was what brought me home. I really wanted to use this journey, this kind of starting that I had, and come back and take these skills, take my expertise, and serve the Pacific community. So
we love it.
Woo! Yeah. February 2020, that was the day I arrived. Yes. What about you, sis? Damn. What about you? How did you
Yeah, before everything Whaipawhale?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we're going to go way back. So for those who don't know, I hail from the beautiful islands of Samoa, but born and bred in the place of champions, Cannons Creek, Porirua. Yes. 5024 all day, every day. If you don't know, now you know. So I spent 18 years of my beautiful life in Porirua. And then I moved up to Auckland when I was 18 because, Samoan girl, you're not meant to leave home. There was a university in Wellington, but chose to dodge that and moved to AUT. And, oh my gosh, I studied computer science. And you know what? Every time I tell everybody, it's like a conversation starter. And it's just a very interesting way of trying to navigate them, but also be like, I can do that. You know? I could definitely do that. Because growing up, everyone's like, oh, Eteroa should be a radio host. Yeah. Look at me now. At the DJ noise. So I did my 4 years as a software engineer, graduated, and oh my gosh, the expensive piece of paper landed me somewhat on TVs because of my graduation walk. And you would think that would set me up to get a job because, all they were saying was like, you got to be seen. You got to go to networking events. You need to wear a suit.
Little did they know you went viral.
Yeah, always straight up. I had the Daily Mail message me.
You broke the internet.
Oh, I broke something because I think another thing was what we studied too. Like it was very different.
Yeah.
So all that hype, everyone going, it's Eteroa, we want you to join us, But for those that don't know, no, I couldn't get a single job after graduation. Like, had a whole spreadsheet of 102 jobs, and it was red because of rejections. Yeah. So that was my life of finding. So I finally got a role.
Yeah.
I worked at a software company called Vend, which is called Lightspeed now. 6 months as an intern. Was it great? No, it wasn't. Nah, being a software engineer is hard. They, metrics is how much code can you smash out?
Yeah.
Can you smash it out fast?
Yeah.
Or, if it's fast, is it good quality?
Yeah.
Like they want you to win the Golden Globes, get a gold medal in the Olympics with the way they expect us to work out. So, oh my gosh, and like you, sister, I was 21. And I thought things was amazing. So from that, put me off. And then I went back to study. So I went to Dev Academy, upskilled. I could have given up.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, mum and dad didn't move to Samoa for me to give up. I got to keep trying. So then moving from there, went to do some stunts at startups. Did my thing at startups. That itself gave me a bit of a scare.
Yeah.
Because there's no structure.
Yeah.
So every time you're at a startup, you just got to figure things out.
Totally.
Until you run out of money. So I've been in many failed startups, which I think is cool because it gives you kind of perspective.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then after that, you'd think I'd go corporate, but no, I was in startups for 2 years. And then after the startup scene, I finally got picked up as an experienced hire at Xero. I know. Xero wanted to hire me when they didn't take me as a grad or an intern. So this is an interesting thing. I didn't go the normal route.
Yeah.
So after my experience, did my years at Xero, was a developer evangelist, and then I left, which was scary.
Yeah.
Because in our community, getting a job is the end of the road. That's the journey. If you become manager, good on you. If you become the, head of department, good on you. But you've hit areas that we haven't hit before.
Yeah, totally.
So it was scary. So I finally called you under a bridge at Melbourne because they were doing redundancies then.
Yes.
And I said, Chilia, it's time for me to let go of what the future looked like for us back then.
Totally.
To opening up to areas that are very foreign. And I'm actually glad I made the jump. And from that, I'm now here with Sister Julia. And we're just our own bosses.
Yes.
Doing our own things.
Yes, we are.
And even talking about it is quite interesting, eh? I didn't want to be, I never thought I'd ever be a business owner. I always thought I was just going to be a worker. Yeah.
I mean, and that's a whole mindset that I think has been actually indoctrinated into us.
I doubt.
We've been told we're the workers.
But not the owners, eh? So this is scary, but rewarding at the same time.
Yes.
So,
And I will say, when you rang me and you were crying, I cried straight away.
yeah, haro.
It was like that's got to be one of my favorite days of this year, was getting that phone call. And it was just, it was the best. But going into that, like, there's the phone call and there's the moment where you took that leap of faith. But what about us even meeting? So like, I mean, I think a lot of people wonder how me in my world and what I was up to, and you in your world and what you were up to, how did we actually end up crossing over? Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I love the story.
Yes!
So a lot of people are like, you should meet Julia, you should meet Eteroa. And I think the cool thing about us is we just let time and the atmosphere and the environment and the earth let us come together. Like the tectonic plates just had to take its time to collide, So we had a lot of people telling us that we should meet, but it was real cool. And we went to our sister's event. What's it called? Saphron Matamua?
Yeah.
And that's where we actually first met each other in person. And then from that, we added in our calendars Royal Oak, KFC,
Woo!
thigh combination, extra seasoning on the chips, and that's where we actually met, Aces. Every time
I think I shouted you too.
No, you don't, because we were trying to fight over the bill. We were like, no, but oh man, when we got there, sat down, had our chicken, and we just cried. Yeah. And I think it was for me. It was just, it's very rare to find someone that is, one, brave enough to talk against everyone in tech, but two, willing to still take those like wounds and still carry on.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, we cried for ages. Like it's so sad to say, it's good that you went through the same thing too. Because when I meet people in tech here, they just, it's all because let's just let it be, we'll put it under the carpet.
Totally. I mean, I think for me too, there was part of me that was, again, from living with my mum growing up, not with my dad, so not with my Samoan side, there was a part of me that felt so seen by you, and I couldn't believe that you accepted me. And I think I couldn't believe that you accepted me for where I was at in my cultural identity as well. Because there's a lot of shame. Like, I know that's not an unusual thing for those of us that are disconnected from identity, that reclaiming journey. And so when I found you, and I was totally intimidated by you. Like, I think I was super afraid that you'd think I was just a try hard, and I was super afraid that honestly, I was so afraid that you'd be like, not another person that wants to meet with me, like not another person that's gonna, say how much they love me and da-da-da-da. And I was so conscious of that, and I just didn't want to be another person that was just being a fan that was feeding off you. Yeah. And that's probably where I like the irony of paying for the food, because then I was literally feeding you. Yeah. Yep. But it was such a moving point of just finding the shared passion, the shared mission, and like you say, the shared willingness to put ourselves out there, to be in the arena and to keep going.
Exactly. And you know what? While we're talking about this, and like, it's real cool because it's really hard for people to have good takeaways. And that's why we're going to have takeaways with Fiber Fale. Yes, here is your order. I'll go first, eh?
Yeah, you go first.
I think the biggest takeaway from this is build your village and find the right person in business that you want to do this work. For me, even hearing that sister, oh my gosh, for me, it's if you're willing to go through the trenches with a sister, if you're really to, be my tag team and to fight the fire, then you know what, that's the right person. There are things that you'll learn along the way with your business partner, but I think, if they've got your back, then you've got nothing to really worry about, because it's part of the fight that we have to do for the work that we do. Yeah. So takeaway 1, yes.
Order number 2. Order number 2. Takeaway number 2 is, you cannot be found if you don't put your flame up. And I know I've said this one a lot before, but when I got that job in HP, I didn't get it because I knew anything about technology. I got it because I redid my whole resume. I made it as weird as possible so that it would stand out, because this was before AI was being used with all the tools to scan all the resumes. So I was trying to think about, what is going to, stop the human eye on my page versus anyone else's. And I applied for over 100 jobs all over the world. And all I thought about was the worst that's going to happen is that I stay here.
Yeah.
And the best thing that's going to happen is that someone picks it up and says yes, and I might be somewhere else. And if I had have never have chosen to put myself forward, to put my flame up, I wouldn't have got to HP, I wouldn't have had the learnings from HP, and I definitely wouldn't have come all the way back and be here today in Whaibawhale with you. So order number 2.
Oh, yes. Really.
You cannot be found if you don't put your flame up.
That's right. Here for you to take away in your place, anytime, anywhere. Yes.
So that's all for our first ever episode. Woo! Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I hope there's lots of you. We'll aim that there's going to be lots of you. But we're really excited for episode 2. We're going to go a lot more deeper into our founder story part 2. Yeah. So, how do we actually incorporate the business? How do we write a constitution? What is a constitution? How do we write a pitch deck? What is a pitch deck?
No.
And, most importantly, who gave us the money? No, we're deserving. We're worthy.
Yes, we are.
We are enough. But please tune in for episode 2. We're really excited to have you be part of our audience.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, if you'll be fancy, LinkedIn. Yes. And let us know what you really want to hear. So until next time, we look forward to having a chat with you. Tō whā soifua, and we'll see you then. You have been listening to Tech Voyagers, brought to you by Whaibawhale.
It was hosted by me, Julia Arnott-Neenee.
And me, Nuali'i Eteroa Lafaele.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you're following Tech Voyagers on your favourite podcast player so you get new episodes as soon as they land.
Join the talanoa and let us know your thoughts using hashtag Tech Voyagers on all socials.
And if you want to know more about pathways for Pasefika people in tech, visit whaibawhale.com.